What's up? Welcome back. We are continuing our Everweave run through of Cedric Williams, the gunslinger. Whew, I'm a bit tired today. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hop into it. Give me a second. I'm going to get the stream up on my phone so that if anybody wants to chat, they can. Just a second. There we go. All right, I got that. All right, and I'm fully up to date now on it. So, if anybody wants to chat, they can. I'm free to do so. I'm going to try something a little different. I always feel like the music's either too loud or it's very distracting. So we're going to try using the in-game audio for a little while and see how that goes. So if I remember correctly, where we left off, that's right, we were gonna go try to find some kind of quest to do, some kind of job thing, right? Because I don't really want to dig into this whole symbol nonsense that the game's trying to throw at me. I really wasn't looking for that kind of story. But I'm just kind of playing along with what the DM decides it wants to do at the same time. Like, there's got to be an end game to all this, I guess you could say. All right. So, oh, God. Long stretch there. All right, let's see. Pull out new and search board for any raid parties looking for a member. See if we can't find a raid to join. Let's see what we can find. All right, you pull out the new association phone. The interface smooth and responsive compared to your previous cracked one. You navigate to the contract and raid board, a feed of flashing job postings categorized by rank, guild affiliation, and reward. It's a digital marketplace for human life, and you are just another statistic searching for the next gig to keep the lights on. The listings are a mix of mundane and dangerous. A low-level security detail for supply transport offers quick, safe payment, but barely enough to cover a decent meal. A D-rank raid team is looking for a flexible, ranged attacker. They're pushing into an abandoned subway tunnel, a high-risk, high-reward job that could get you noticed. Then there's an unranked, suspicious posting from an information broker looking for somebody to survey a restricted ruin. It's vague, clearly not sanctioned, and probably dangerous. But the reward is 3 times what a D-rank raid offers. Stare at the screen, the weight of the silver in your pocket, and the memory of the geometric eye fighting for dominance in your mind. Do you play it safe, join the raid team for a chance at steady work, or pursue the riskier lead in hopes of finding answers about the organization that forced the gate open? Okay, we're definitely not doing that last one. Definitely not. Don't want to go that route. Let's go ahead and do... location details. I don't need get any. Wonder if. Oh no. To the meeting. Side the gate. All right. I don't want to give it too much information to go with. That might be useful more early on. I guess it depends on what kind of like way you want to play it, I guess. All right, the journey to the subway entrance takes you into the older, more industrial sector of Haven Reach, where the infrastructure shows the strain of the decade-long rift crisis, and you find the designated meeting spot, a shuttered graffiti street entrance to a defunct subway line. The heavy metal gates have been partially pried open, revealing a dark, yawning tunnel that smells faintly of stagnant water and cold metallic dust. A group of 3 is already assembled, their gear marking them as experienced enough to handle a D-rank venture. A burly, broad-shouldered man with a heavy mace resting against his hip leans against a concrete pillar, watching you with a guarded, skeptical expression. Near him, a younger woman adjusts the strap of a wooden spell-casting focus, her face pale but determined. A lean, sharp-eyed scout stands a few paces apart, his eyes constantly tracking the surrounding street activity. The scout notices you approach and jerks his chin toward the others, signaling you to close the distance. Interesting group we have here. Walk over to greet the group, eyeing the shimmering rift, not too far down the tunnel. Back group. I introduce myself. D-rank gunslinger. Responding to the raid request. Kind of keep it short and sweet to a point. Just, hey, this is what I am. This is why I'm here. Oh, Lord. Let's see what we get here. Man, it's taking a while. I didn't expect it to take this long. It really is taking a minute. Oh yeah, it's the handoff to the my brain. It's not wanting to work. Brain's not wanting to work. It's got to do the handoff with the dialogue DM probably. So it's trying to decide like what happens here, formulate the conversation, that sort of thing. There we go. All right. Krellin Bost. See, we keep getting like this guy in like 8 different outfits, to be fair. All right, D rank. Listen, we need quiet, not noise. You know how to handle those tools, or are you just here to draw eyes? Colin stands firm, arms crossed, tight over his chest. He eyes the holstered weapons at your hip. Then his fingers stray to the pommel of his mace, tapping it once, twice in a steady, impatient rhythm. Vexy Krell, he has a point. The acoustics in there are bad. They amplify everything. Just keep the noise down, please. Vexy stands slightly behind Krellin, her fingers white. It's a girl, okay. Her fingers white-knuckled around her resonant tuning rod. The low, erratic whistling she was making cuts off instantly as she glances from the dark tunnel to you. She looks back to her instrument, her hands twitching as she makes a final, minute adjustment. Riven helped. Quit, he's right. Sound travels in the shafts. Keep that iron cold. Unless it's a breach gunslinger copy. Stands a few paces apart from the rest of the group, his back partially to the conversation as he scans them out the alleyway. His long fingers drum a rapid rhythmic beat against his thigh, stopping abruptly when he speaks. He doesn't face you fully. His gaze remains fixed on the street beyond the subway entrance. Let me get this straight. You want to just follow, unless not use sorry. Ask with a bit of used. And hopefully it recognizes that's meant to be like a thought bubble. Sometimes the DM's a little weird. I may need to tell it like, hey, this is going to be considered like an inner thought, not something said out loud. Hopefully the fact that I didn't put it in parentheses or anything, or not parentheses, hopefully because I put it in brackets and not like quotations, it won't act as though it was said out loud. Really, I think it's going to just assume that that's anything I type in there that's not like expressed as like a feeling or something. Listen, rank means nothing when you're dead. Your guns stay cold until I say otherwise. If you can't follow that, turn around. Krellin tightens his grip on his mace. His knuckles turn white. He steps forward, closing the distance between you. His expression hardening into a flat, unimpressed mask. He watches your hands, waiting to see if they have the discipline to hold your fire. It's the structural integrity. The tunnel's walls, their ancient high-velocity discharges cause just extreme sonic vibrations. We cannot afford a collapse before we even reach the sector. It's not about doubt. It's just physics, okay? Too much talk. Every second we stand here, cat eyes catch on to us. You want the job, it's stealth, guns cold, or walks. Simple as that. Are we moving or not? I don't know if it's... I think I just don't like the direction the story's going. I don't think it's really going the direction I actually wanted it to, but that's fine. I kind of just want to play along with it to a point. Okay, I get it. Unless it's dire. Gesture toward the rift. Signaling that I'll join them. So I should probably submit like a suggestion or something for them to kind of work the AI for the dialogue DM to recognize that brackets should be nonverbal. Yeah, see, this is the other thing I don't like, right? So if we go back here and we take a look, it instantly included what I said in brackets as if I said it out loud. And I don't like that. Character. Please not include anything placed in brackets as part of the conversation moving forward. What I wish to say will be inside quotations if it's in brackets, then it is something I am thinking, not saying. Okay. Changing what I mean to say makes it feel like I don't have control control over my character. But I do want to be able to include thoughts to help more depth. Thank you. Okay. We should be able to kind of push the DM to understand, like, hey, what I put in quotations needs to stay out of the conversation, or what I put in brackets needs to stay out of the conversation. Don't include that shit, right? Like, that wasn't something that I said. That was something I thought. Okay. I love that it just kind of ignored me, but okay. The heavy ozone-charged air in the entrance pulls at your clothes, and as you step through the violet shimmer, the familiar dampness of the subway tunnel is instantly replaced by the bone-chilling cold of the rift. The world shifts, the familiar concrete and steel of the city vanish, replaced by the uneven crumbling rock of a subterranean cavern. You find yourself standing on a narrow ledge, overlooking a vast, dark abyss with precarious stone paths winding into the depths below. The environment is deathly quiet, a stark contrast to the frantic city above. Moisture drips from the jagged ceiling, echoing with unnerving clarity in the vast space. The structural integrity here is visibly compromised. Stalactites hang like jagged daggers, and the ground itself feels fragile, as if a loud noise might trigger a cave-in. Your companions fan out, moving with deliberate, silent precision, their eyes scanning the gloom for any sign of movement. You keep your hands far from your holsters, adhering strictly to your agreement, and match their pace. Every step on the loose, shifting scree feels like a challenge, and you hold your breath to minimize any sound. The darkness here is absolute, and constant gnawing threat of an unseen enemy is lurking in the crags, weighs heavily on you as the group begins to tense descent into the heart of the dungeon. Okay. So this ought to be really interesting. I'm not sure how we're going to go about this, right? Because we don't have... Well, we had the long sword. We're just not very good with it. I want to kind of preface that. Okay. Toward long sword. My back. Not very skilled with it, but I needed some kind of weapon in case we ran out of bullets. Apparently I can't use the spacebar correctly. Never thought would come in handy like this. Let's see here. How do we want to go about this? Follow behind man with the mace, but just ahead the mage. Yeah, we'll go that route. I'll be right back. It's not going to take me more than a second to grab what I need. Okie dokie. Welcome. If you guys are following along, I am more than happy to chat with you guys. I do have the chat screen open on my phone, so I am paying attention. If you guys have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Won't promise I'll use them, but always nice to hear. All right, moving on. Your hand finds the hilt of the longsword strapped to your back. It feels foreign and cumbersome compared to the familiar balanced weight of your 9mm pistols, a sobering reminder of your limitation as a specialist. You fall into formation, keeping Krellin, the brawny mace wielder, just ahead of you. He moves with surprising lightness, his heavy boots making almost no sound on the grit-covered floor. Vexy the mage follows closely behind, her focus gripped tightly in her hand, her breathing shallow and controlled. The tunnel continues to wind deeper. Can't speak apparently. Let's see. My brain went completely off the rail. Sorry. Wife messaged me, so I was seeing what that was. All right. Follows closely behind her, focus gripped tightly in her hand, her breathing shallow and controlled. The tunnel continues to wind deeper, the air thick with the smell of damp earth and something faint metallic, like old dried blood. Up ahead, the corridor widens, opening into a massive cavernous space littered with piles of rubble and sharp stone outcroppings. A low rhythmic rasping sound echoes from the far end of the chamber, bouncing strangely off the jagged walls. Krellin halts abruptly, raising a clenched fist, a silent signal for the group to freeze. He slowly pivots, his eyes narrowing as he scans the shadows among the debris near the far wall. A large, dark shape shifts in the gloom, and you see the unmistakable glint of multiple unblinking eyes reflecting the faint amber light of the dungeon. Not pulling from the sheath yet, but for when signal is given, I don't believe this is the boss, but is a bit weird for a D rank dungeon to not be flooded monsters. Then again, it is possible that a E-rank boss can reside in a dungeon that classifies as a D-rank dungeon if it's alone. Rare, but possible. Okay, let's see what we got here. You maintain a first steady grip on the sword's hilt, the leather-wrapped metal biting deeply into your palm as you stand frozen in the darkness. The massive, cavernous chamber is thick with tension, a suffocating weight that makes every shallow breath feel loud. Keep your eyes locked on that shifting dark form, trying to identify precisely what is lurking in the shadows ahead. It doesn't appear to be a boss tier entity, But in an unstable D-rank dungeon, even minor threats can rapidly escalate into lethal encounters if not handled with absolute precision. The creature suddenly shifts fully into a patch of dim light. It's a hulking spider-like beast the size of a small carriage. Its carapace dull, scarred, and covered in grime. It does not seem to have detected your party yet, as it is frantically tearing into the carcass of some other denizen of the crypt. Krellin holds his position, his heavy mace gripped white-knuckled in both hands. He glances back at you and Vexy, his jaw set, silently waiting for the right moment to initiate the engagement. Let me get caught back up on my phone. Okay. Let's see. What do we want to do here? Look back at the mage. Spider type monsters are pretty weak to fire-based attacks. So I search her to see if there's any sign of her. How do I want to clean up for a flame-based spell? Let's see if this is going to be an easy fight or if this is going to be... we get a 19. I think that means we're going to get a fire-based spell here. Maybe. Be a good question. I don't know. I do like the new dice. I actually really like that. I think that was done really, really well. Their new thing there. Your eyes lock onto Vexy, and the signs are unmistakable. Her wooden focus, previously dormant, begins to pulse with a low amber glow. She's murmuring a steady rhythmic incantation, and the air immediately around her starts to shimmer with rising heat. A faint smell of sulfur begins to drift towards you, confirming your suspicion. She is priming a high-intensity fire spell perfectly tailored to exploit the spider's vulnerability. Krellin catches the same signs, his posture shifting ever so slightly. He knows exactly what Vexy is planning, and he braces himself, his mace now lifted in readiness. Spider continues its feast, blissfully ignorant of the furnace Vexy is building behind its back. The silence in the cavern is absolute, but it feels like it's about to shatter. You grip your sword tighter, ready to charge in the moment the first flare of fire erupts. The kill box is set. The spell launches forward, making contact with the spider. Pull my sword and get ready, hoping that spider was the only one, but knowing that anything in the area would be alerted to our presence. Jesus Christ, I can't spell apparently. Let's see what happens. Is this the only one, or are we about to get into a fight with a bunch? With a whole ass horde? Yep, we're going straight into combat. And it is starting with 5 less health. The fire spell erupts from Vexy's focus, a concentrated lance of flame that slams to the spider's thorax. The creature lets out a high-pitched, discordant screech that echoes through the cavern, its carapace instantly blackened and bubbling under the intense heat. It rears up, thrashing wildly, trying to extinguish the flames with its spindly, jagged limbs. Its movements erratic and panic-stricken. Seeing the beast disoriented and burning, you pull your longsword from its sheath. The cold steel rings out, a sharp, clear note in the otherwise suffocating silence of the dungeon. You rush forward to close the gap before the creature can recover, your boots crunching on the stone floor, your heart pounding. The spider, sensing your approach, despite its agony, turns its many glowing eyes toward you, a mandible clicking with predatory rage. It prepares to counterattack, and the fight is on. Spiner, wounded and enraged. Why do I not have the 3 people that should be... Oh my god. Alright, we're gonna have to actually go back and get their names. Krellin Faust enters combat. Vexy Krell enters combat. Uven Helt enters combat. Okay. I swing sword clumsily, aiming at one of the legs, hoping to at least keep the spider off balance for the fight. It's probably not going to work, but we can try. It's probably not going to add them in either. Maybe. Uh, 10 to 12 is to fail. Your blade bites into the stone floor rather than the chitinous leg of the beast. The spider skittering away from your clumsy strike with unsettling speed. Krellin, sensing your struggle, surges forward to intercept, while Vexy continues to weave her arcane fire. The creature's carapace crackling and popping under the constant heat. Okay. Oh, ow. I took damage. Jesus. Okay, let's read what happened. Continues to weave her arcane fire. I'm going to have to fight for them. Okay, the creature's carapace crackling and popping under the constant heat, keeps his distance, crossbow raised, waiting for a clean shot at the cavern. As the cavern echoes with the hissing of the burning monstrosity, you brace yourself ready to regroup for the next assault. The giant spider, driven mad by the heat of the fire covering it, lets out a shrill shriek before lunging at you with its venomous fangs. Krellin moves to intercept, and it is now the enemy's turn. The burning spider, driven by pure instinct, ignores Krellin's distraction and lunges directly at you, desperate to sink its venomous fangs into your flesh. Ow! Okay, 6 damage. Quite a lot, actually. That hurts. Alright, I look at Krellin. Can I use guns now? I ask desperately, turning back to the spider. I keep its focus and try to swing, or actually I should say stab toward its eyes. Afterwards, I cast. It's not technically casting since it's an ability, right? Yeah, it's an ability. We're going to use Second Wind here. Use Second Wind. Krellin moves forward and swings his mace for one of the leg joints. Since it wouldn't include them, I'm going to have to fight for them. Wow. Let's see here. Vex still casts another fire spell, though clear me a lower class compared to the first. Seeing a opening, Reuben fires crossbow at the head. Alright, we're gonna have to fight for them and hope that this does something, right? Whoa. Oh, no, it kicked me all the way back to here. Okay. Alright, Cedric lunges forward, thrusting his longsword toward the giant spider's compound eyes while calling out to his companions. We do get a hit. Let's see. Rolling for damage. Please do at least decent damage. 25 HP. It's pretty good. Alright, so we didn't... Okay. I regained 9. We dealt 5. Okay. Sometimes its order of operations is really weird. Okay. Okay, do I get 9 and 6, or do I just get 6? Jesus Christ. The combat intensifies. Krellin follows up your strike with a heavy swing of his mace, and Vexy continues to pelt the burning beast with fire. You feel refreshed as you prepare for your next move against the writhing arachnid. Ignoring the flames consuming its body, the spider lashes out at you in a frantic, desperate attempt to end the fight before it succumbs to its injuries. It's gonna get another hit. Holy smokes. I take another 6 points. Okay. It's not going to include my allies. It's just not going to. So, we're going to say fuck this. This sword shit's not working. Zing. Just isn't going to cut it for this fight. I throw it down and back up, pulling both pistols from the holster. Take aim with the first and fire at its eyes, then using action surge, fire again with alright. We're gonna say fuck this sword nonsense. We're really bad at swords. Alright, you drop your longsword and draw your 9mm handguns, firing a steady shot at the giant spider's eyes. 16 versus 12. That's a hit. And because we do have technically the archery mastery, right, we should get a +2 to attack rolls. So this should deal considerable damage. With the spider reeling for the first shot, you trigger your adrenaline, drawing upon your latent combat potential to execute an additional volley of fire. Capitalizing on the opening provided by your gear, you level your second pistol and fire a precise fallout shot at the burning beast. We're going to do... Damn. The spider is severely wounded, its HP dropping to 1 after taking 14 total damage from your 2 precision shots. Spider screeches, its carapace riddled with bullet holes and still wreathing in Vexy's flame. It is clearly teetering on the edge of collapse, but it lunges at you one last time in a desperate final assault. Your companions, Cole and Vexy, are moving to cut off its threat with a guttural. I hate that it pulls you all the way back to the top. The combat system needs to be overhauled. It's not terrible, but it ain't great. Alright. The girl chittering sound. The dying spider makes a desperate final lunge at you with its venomous mandibles. You deftly pivot the spider's exhausted strike, crashing harmlessly against the cavern wall instead of finding its mark. Hoping to end the fight, I level my pistol and fire a final shot into its side. Jesus, it feels like it's creating, like there's got to be, they've got to over. I know they are planning on overhauling this system, the combat system. It's just not good. It's such a weird system. Yep, we are going to end this fight right there. Okay, the D-rank rift echoes with the finality of your shot. You entered this cavernous chamber alongside Krellin and Vexy, turning the spider's ambush into a desperate struggle for survival. As Vexy's fire illuminated the dark, you wove between melee steel and the calculated rhythm of your 9mm handguns. Despite the cavern's viscous venom, or the creature's viscous venom and aggressive lunges bringing you to the brink, your resolve remained unshaken. Utilize the environment to your advantage, keeping the beast off balance until your final well-placed bullet shattered its remaining defenses. The massive arachnid collapses into a heap of charred, twitching limbs, the oppressive silence of the crypt returning once more. You stand panting, your gear stained and battered but triumphant. The immediate danger has passed, leaving you and your companions to scavenge the remains and push deeper into the dungeon's abyss. Okay, fight's over. I'm now pissed because nobody really helped. Is what it is. Welcome. Thank you for joining. If you want, I do have chat up. I'm more than happy to communicate with you. Other than that, let's continue. Let's see here. At team surrounding me, I walk. All right, so we're going to go grab our sword. Grab the sword. Realizing I desperately need to practice for these types of scenarios. Apparently I can't spell. Desperately, there we go. Look back at Krellin. Let's see here. No, we didn't discuss loot distribution outside, and it wasn't listed in the request, so I assume it's the usual split based on kill contribution. I ask, let's see here. Usual distribution would mean I would get a majority of the spoils from this spider since I dealt 80% of the damage. Okay, let's see what happens here. They might get pissed that I use the pistols. Don't know yet. Let's kind of see how this plays out. I also kind of want to... I may need to think about, like, okay, is this message going to bring me into combat? If so, like, okay, these people are joining me in combat in that combat initiation message in the future. Otherwise, I'm going to be kind of stuck fighting all this fucking shit alone, and I definitely don't want to have to do that when we reach the boss, because that's going to be a pain in the ass if I got to fight the boss all alone. Of course, this is going to go into dialogue mode, so it's going to take a minute because it's got to do its thing, its handover. If they could find a way to make these transitions a lot more seamless, that would be nice. But I mean, it's not terrible. Still work in progress. The game's not finished. Obviously, we're gonna full screen this as well. Listen, we split even. You try to count kills in a tunnel, you die. Focus on the next fight, not the coin. Krellin Voss pivots away from the smoking carcass, his heavy boots crunching its loose shale. He crosses his arm tightly over his chest, his jaw set in a hard, uncompromising line as he looks up and down with deep-set, weary eyes. Colin's right. We need to focus on the path ahead. Just a fair split is logical for everyone, right? I need to keep my regions topped up so I do not misfire on the next one. We should just keep it simple. You just fucking said that. Can agree to an even split. No use doing I agree, not practical to try and keep track of participation inside. All right. Kind of agree there. Not really worth trying to keep track of who did what, who owns what. Depending on what they say here, assuming the conversation's still going, I'll ask them if any of them have a subspace or a... Okay. I look over to see the rogue. Let's just call him by his name. Reuben, already stripping the spider, putting the valuables inside a storage bag. I'm a little surprised to see a member of a small group carrying something as expensive as a bag of holding. Useful they are. Okay. Gesture. It's a G, not a J. Gesture or continue moving after he's done. All right, let's see what we can get here. I'm trying to see if I can hear the background at all. Okay, you can hear it. It's just really quiet, so I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. Okay. You watch Reuben with a flicker of envy. A bag of holding is a rare, expensive commodity for a freelance raid team. Clear sign that this group is better equipped or perhaps deeper in debt than they initially let on. He moves with practiced, almost clinical efficiency, harvesting the creature's precious materials and securing them within the magical storage without a fuss. Krellin and Vexy, meanwhile, keep their eyes on the dark tunnels ahead, their bodies tense and alert. Once Reuben finishes, he snaps the bag shut and gives a quick, silent nod to the group, signaling that the scavenging is complete. You offer a brief, sharp gesture towards the darkened archway ahead, your heart rate slowly normalizing. Krellin takes the point again, his mace held low, and the group silently advances, leaving the charred remains of the spider behind. The corridor ahead is narrower, the walls pressing in on you, the air growing colder and more laden with the strange metallic clang. Every step deeper feels like walking further into a snare. And you scan the shadows intensely, knowing that whatever lies ahead is waiting for you in the dark. As we move forward, mentally check my ammo count. One pistol is currently carrying. See here, we have the 2 shots. No, the 3 shots in the initial dungeon, the 2 guys, and then the 2 shots there, so 7. So it's carrying 3 rounds, while the other still has 9. The quick reload skill my class awakened with means I don't have to worry much about reload in the heat of the fight, but it isn't an auto reload, so I don't keep count in my head, could be in trouble. Catch back up on the could be in trouble. Continue forward. The severe lack of monsters so far very concerned. I can see starting to affect others well. A D rank dungeon should house around 200 E rank monsters or 50 to 100 D rank monsters besides the boss. You could mean a false reading or a abnormally powerful boss. You perform a quick surreptitious mental check of your magazines. One pistol is critically low with only 3 rounds remaining. The other holds 9. In the chaos of a dungeon, the margin is razor thin. Your speed reloading skill is a potential asset, but it relies on your awareness, and right now, the stifling silence of the tunnel makes you paranoid. You trail Krellin, eyes scanning the dark, damp rock faces for any sign of a trap. The unease is becoming impossible to ignore. Krellin's movements have lost their fluidity, replaced by rigid, cautious steps. Even Vexy keeps casting nervous glances into the abyss ahead. You're in a D-rank dungeon, a space that should be crawling with low-level threats, yet you have encountered nothing but that single isolated spider. The lack of resistance is far more terrifying than the prospect of a horde. Suddenly, the tunnel floor trembles, a deep vibration, heavy groaning, heavy groan echoing beneath your boots. The air grows abruptly colder, and the metallic tang intensifies, becoming sharp and stinging. Up ahead, Krellin stops cold, pointing towards a massive arching doorway. A faint, pulsing violet light spills from it, signaling that you are reaching the heart of the dungeon. Whatever waits there has likely been intentionally starving the rest of the levels to feed itself. At Krellin and whisper, "You and I both know that the sheer lack of means there's either a massive horde in there with the boss, or that boss is a higher rank dungeon. It would be smart treat for now and inform the association for a proper conducted I say hoping this group doesn't plan pushing forward. All right, let's see what they decide to do. Let's see what this group decides to do, because the way this world building is going to go, there's either one of two things. There's a massive horde inside there with the boss, or it's a higher ranked boss. So we'll see. I mean, with the four of us, if it's only a boss, it shouldn't be that hard to take down. Got a pretty decent party build here. We got a rogue, we got a gunslinger, we got a kind of like a defensive mace user, and then we got a mage that can use fire in a dungeon where we already come across a spider. So probably another larger spider probably in there. Spider queen maybe. So you're right, no prowlers, no guards. That means we're walking into a slaughterhouse. Keep your eyes on the shadows, not the loot. If it's a higher rank, we might not walk back out. Everyone ready? Stand stiffly by the pulsating archway, arms locked across his chest. He taps the pommel of his mace once, his heavy brow furrowed as he glances at each member of the party in turn, waiting for a nod of agreement. Let's see what we run into here. Whisper. You and I both know that the sheer light. The pulsing violet light from the chamber casts long dancing shadows across the tunnel walls, making the very air seem alive with menace. You lean in close to Krellin, your voice a little more than ragged breath, the sheer unnatural quiet of the tunnels pressing down on you. You lay out the tactical reality. The lack of fodder mobs is a massive red flag pointing toward either a massive horde or a boss far beyond your collective pay grade. Krellin turns his head slowly, the cold glow of the chamber highlighting the grim set of his jaw as he listens to your assessment. Vexy and Reuven move in closer, hearing your words, their expressions shifting from focused anticipation to dawning cold dread. I agree with Krellin. It's just too quiet. My resonance feels unstable in this air, but I'm as ready as I can be. Let's just make this quick, please. Vexy stands tucked behind Krellin's broad frame, her knuckles white as she grips. Hold on. Sorry, wife messaged me. Her knuckles white as she grips her tuning rod. She compulsively runs a thumb over the wood of the focus, her eyes darting between the dark, pulsing archway and the shadows beyond the party. A low, erratic whistling starts beneath her breath, or under her breath, but cuts off the instant she catches you looking her way. Copy that, I'll take the lead. Keep your eyes on the peripheral and don't bunch up. If this is a boss room, we don't give it a stationary target. These motherfuckers plan on... Oh, okay, we might die here. I don't know yet. Yeah, why is it repeating? Why is it repeating? Okay. Really plan on pushing forward anyway. Shake my head, realizing they plan to still take on the boss. I draw twin pistols. Fine. But if we do this, get to fight my way. They nod as Krillin opens door. Inside is a massive spider sitting on a web. Room appears to be devoid of any other monsters. Neither appears to be sleeping at the moment. Spider carcasses litter the cave. The boss had been cannibalizing its brood to grow stronger. Oh, it's I had it almost right. I just need another end. Hopefully we move to get a better read on the situation. But as we forward, the door behind us slams shut. Oh. In a panic, realize one of the rare boss rooms that locks until the fight is over. Okay, so honestly, I'm pretty sure if I do that, it's not going to. DM, please end dialogue mode. We're going to do that to get out of dialogue mode, because I'm pretty sure if I submit the message the way that I had it written out without getting out of dialogue mode, it's going to do a bunch of weird shit. I don't want to do that. We are going into this fight without second wind or action surge, which is going to suck. Okay, and then we're going to paste and hit send. Let's see what it does with that information. Hopefully it doesn't immediately kick us into combat mode, and I'm able to include these three, because trying to fight a boss all alone is going to suck. God damn it, it went immediately into combat mode. Alright, Reuben kicks the heavy door open, his weapon held high as you step into the suffocating heart of the lair. The room is vast, layered or draped in... Okay. We're gonna have to do this. Please end combat as I wished to indicate a few things prior to combat being initiated. Thank you. Alright, we're going to have to hope that that does what I need it to do. Okay, so the room is vast, draped in layers of thick, sticky webbing that muffle your movements and create a disorienting, claustrophobic atmosphere. Piles of hollowed-out spider husks lie strewn across the floor like dry leaves. The remains of the brood the boss has consumed to fuel its own terrifying growth. In the center, resting atop a massive web platform, lies a hulking arachnid, its carapace shimmering with iridescent dark colors as it remains still in a predatory slumber. Suddenly, the doors behind you slam shut with a violent, silent boom that vibrates in your chest. The sound is unmistakable. A locking mechanism engaged, sealing you in with the nightmare. Giant spider's legs twitch, its many eyes snapping open, glowing with a malevolent, hungering light. It has been waiting for this feast. You raise your twin pistols, the cold, steady steel steady in your hands, as the boss rises, ready to end your lives. Okay. So the humid air of the boss chamber hangs heavy, thick with the scent of decay and sticky sheen of expansive webs. As the heavy stone doors groan shut, sealing your fate, the giant spider boss looms ahead, a nightmare of chitin and hunger, its multifaceted eyes locked in onto yours. You and your party, Krellin, Vexy, and Reuven, stand in a tense, frozen tableau. The beast's mandibles click, anticipating the slaughter, and the atmosphere bristles with lethal intent. Yet just as the creature prepares its final bone-crushing leap, a sudden stillness settles over the room. Your intuition screams that rushing into this fray would be a death sentence. You command the group to hold your pistols raised but silent. The predator pauses, confused by the shift in momentum, granting you a rare, precarious reprieve to assess the true depth of the danger that lies coiled before you. Okay. A message. I recognize boss as a spider queen, a C rank threat that borders on B rank, really way above our pay grade, but being locked in, we have no choice. Over ready to fight me. I, Reuven, Krellin, and Vexy enter combat with the Spider Queen boss, hoping to make this counter alive. All right. I kind of wanted to upgrade the fight a little bit. Because how's the boss weaker than the giant spider we fought before? Like, it's just not gonna work out there. Spider Queen looms, terrifying manifestation of hunger and chitinous armor. Dwarfs everything in the room. As she snaps her mandibles, the sound echoing like breaking bone. You know you have no choice but to face this monstrosity head on. Krellin immediately steps forward, his mace raised to draw her focus. His jaws set in a grim line of fatalistic resolve. Rexy begins a complex, rapid incantation of her focus, glowing with brilliant bright light, blinding light as she prepares to weave magic into the fray. Reuven darts to the right, his sword drawn and ready to exploit any opening the queen leaves behind. You level your twin pistols, your thumb hovering over the hammers, your breathing steady despite the deafening roar of your own heart. The queen lets out a piercing shrill cry and surges forward, the webbed floor shuddering under her colossal weight. The battle for your survival has truly begun. Okay. DM, engage combat with Spider Queen boss. Include Reuven, Vexy, and Krellin as allies. Please make the boss slightly stronger than you normally would for a party. Current group to account for the narrative. Please. Narrative. Thank you. Engage. Firing. Shot toward. Oh no, R. Begin toward base of the monster. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see what they do for combat. It's going to be kind of weird. Cool. So it looks like we're going to get an immediate engage or immediate starting shot. Did I break it by accident? I mean, I don't mind doing a fight narrative, I guess, but it's kind of sucks that we're not going to know much of anything really. Your 9mm round tears through the air, cracking like a whip before slamming directly into one of the queen's many hateful eyes. A viscous, glowing ichor sprays outward, and the creature lets out a high-pitched, resonating scream of agony. The bullet doesn't penetrate deep enough to kill, but it successfully blinds her on that side. sending her thrashing blindly into the nearby cluster of webbing. Her venomous strike missing Krellin by mere inches. Seizing the moment, Krellin barrels forward, his mace swinging through the air to land a heavy crushing blow against the creature's jointed foreleg. Simultaneously, Vexy finishes her incantation, and a brilliant bolt of searing energy arcs from her focus, striking the queen's exposed underside and causing her to hiss in fury. The team is synchronized. Their initial hesitation burned away by the raw necessity of survival, but the Spider Queen is not easily broken. She recovers instantly, shaking off the damage with terrifying speed. Her massive mandibles snap shut, and she begins to exhale a thick, viscous web in a wide-sweeping arc, clearly intending to entrap you all at once. The floor trembles as she prepares to lunge again. It is your turn to act. Okay. Dodge to the side. And level my pistol again, aiming for another eye. It's probably going to have me do... So I think I broke it in a way, and it's kind of forcing the combat to happen in narrative instead of in the combat DM mode, which, I mean, I'm fine with. It sucks because it's going to burn more messages doing stuff like this. But it's not the end of the day, right? It's not the worst thing that can happen. I'm pretty sure I still have like a couple hundred messages. At least. All right. You tuck into a tight roll, the viscous web spray coating the floor where you stood a heartbeat ago, barely missing you. You surge up, eyes tracking the queen as she reorients and pulls the trigger again, aiming for another of her hateful eyes, but the beast moves with shocking grace for her size. Your shot skims hardenly off the dense, hardened chitin covering her brow. The bullet sparking against the surface and whistling off into the darkness. The queen lets out a chittering roar of triumph, her remaining eyes locking onto you with cold, focused malice. She's learned your pattern. She lunges, her massive bulk closing the distance in a blur of motion, her mandibles snapping down right where your head was a second ago. You scramble back, your leg catching your side, or her leg catching your side. Not a direct strike, but enough to knock you off your balance and leave you breathless. Cedric, get back, Krellin shouts, throwing himself into the fray to intercept the queen's follow-up strike. Bexy begins chanting another spell, the air shimmering with blue ice energy, looking to freeze the beast in place. You're exposed, and the queen is relentless. What do you do? Okay, we need to do this. DM, please engage combat mode with Krellin and Vexy and Reuven as allies. Quickly pivot to fire shot at the exposed joint of one of her legs, hoping to reduce her movement. Please tell me we can push this into combat mode. If I need to make that message like every single time, I will. See, I think it's going to make us do the entire combat. Dexterity is going to go up, and then fighting style is going to go up. It's still not going to be enough. So the shot failed. Okay, fine. I guess. Yeah, it's not going to go into combat mode. All right, the bullet ricochets harmlessly off the Queen's thick reinforced carapace, and the sharp screech of metal on chitin echoing through the cavern. Your shot failed to find the joint. The creature barely seems to notice the impact, her mobility entirely unaffected. She lets out a chittering, enraged hiss, clearly irritated by your persistent pestering. Seizing the moment while your attention is drawn, Reuven sprints forward, his blade flashing in the dim light as he lands a shallow cutting strike across the Queen's flank. The blade bites deep enough to draw acidic black blood, but the Queen is lightning fast. She lashes out with a whip-like appendage, striking Reuven and sending him flying across the chamber, where he crashes heavily into a pile of webbing. Vexy's ice spell finally slams home, coating the Queen's front legs in a thick crystalline layer of frost. The creature falters, her movement visibly sluggish, but she is far from defeated. She shakes her massive bulk violently, sending shards of ice flying, and snaps her mandibles at Krellin, who barely blocks the predatory strike with heavy mace. She is cornering you all, her hunger only intensified by the damage dealt, and she is preparing to unleash a torrent of venom. It is your turn to act. Switch. Use my reload skill to quickly change magazines. Realizing that my mental count shows the first pistol is out of rounds. I fire both pistols toward Queen's face, aiming to blind her or damage the venom sacs inside her mouth. All right. This is so weird doing this in narrative. I've actually never done a combat inside narrative. It's kind of weird, actually. Really wasn't planning on doing this. Okay, we are going to get the shot off. Let's see what it does, though. All right, your twin pistols bark in rapid succession, the sound echoing sharply through the cavern. The rounds strike true. Drilling deep into the Spider Queen's open mandibles, you see the glass-like venom sacs shatter, spraying caustic fluid across her own face, sending the creature into a frenzied screeching panic. Thick, dark ichor bloods bubbles violently where the venom should be, and the Queen slams into the web-covered wall, tearing through the structure in a display of raw, uncontrolled agony. Krellin doesn't waste a second. Recognizing the opening, he lunges forward, his mace glowing with a faint temporal shimmer as he swings it with all his might into the creature's weakened, exposed underbelly. Vexy, meanwhile, sees the Queen's disoriented thrashing as the signal she's been waiting for. She chants a final guttural word, and a swirling vortex of kinetic energy gathers around her focus, ready to be unleashed. The turning point has finally arrived. The monster is broken, and you are closing in for the kill. With another double shot, aiming for the underbelly roughly where N's heart should be. All right, let's see what we get here. All right. That is a failed roll, unfortunately. All right, your bullet zipped through the gap in her underbelly, but a sudden shift in the queen's body causes you to misjudge the trajectory. Both rounds punch into the thick web-covered floor beneath her, kicking up chunks of stone rather than finding their mark. The missed opportunity stings. The queen, sensing the attempt on her life, lets out a guttural, terrifying roar. Her legs slam into the cavern walls and shaking loose a rain of sharp, jagged rock. She's wounded, yes, but her fury is absolute now. She begins to scuttle across the ceiling, her speed returning with vengeful intensity. Krellin shouts a warning, shoving Vixie out of the path of a massive falling stalactite as the queen prepares for a final frantic lunge from above. The room feels smaller, tighter, the air thick with her desperation. You have one chance left to bring her down before she unleashes her full lethal wrath upon the party. Let's see here. Advantage. Fight. Both pistols. Taking careful aim and firing 2 shots toward her eyes. Blind her neatly. Yeah, that's going to be a no. Ouch, that hurts. This ain't going to be good. All right, your bullet spark uselessly against the stone ceiling, inches from the queen's monstrous face. The spider screeches, the sound of pure, concentrated hate. Her remaining eyes fixate on you with chilling intelligence. She doesn't just lunge, she detaches, her massive body falling like a boulder directly toward the center of the party. Reuven screams a warning, diving desperately to the left, and Krellin heaves his mace upward, bracing for an impact that threatens to crush him. The web-draped chamber erupts into chaos as the creature descends. The queen's legs flail as she drops, each tip coated in venomous barbs, turning the air into a deadly kinetic blender. You have a split second to scramble out of the way before you're pinned beneath her crushing bulk. Realizing threat, I quickly dash and dive, pulling me and Vexy out of the way. Krellin being the one to immediately immediately not to dive, to try and move out of the way. It's crushed under Queen's weight. Okay, it's probably going to have me do some kind of roll. Krellin's probably dead here, right? All right, we are definitely getting out of the way, and we are getting Vexy clear as well. All right, let's see what happens. What they decide to run with. Okay, you hit the ground hard, your arms shielding Vexy as the air is forced from your lungs. Sound of impact is sickening, a wet crunching thud that resonates through the cavern floor, followed by a sharp agonizing cry that is abruptly silenced, dust and debris exploding into the air, obscuring your vision, but you don't need to see it to know what just happened. The Queen's massive bulk now sits directly over where Krellin once stood, her barbed legs thrashing in the settling debris. Vexy lets out a choked sob beside you, her focus rolling across the stone floor, dark and inert. Reuven, his face pale and eyes wide with horror, scrambles up from the corner, his blade shaking in his grip. The Queen rises slowly, her mandibles clicking as she turns toward you, her focus shifting. Krellin is gone, and the crushing weight of their loss hangs heavy, turning the remaining battle into a desperate, furious struggle for vengeance. You level your pistols, ignoring the burning in your ribs and the tremor in your hands. You don't have time to grieve. The Queen is vulnerable for a split second as she drags herself off the broken ground. If you don't act now, you're next. Every shot must count if you're going to survive this nightmare. To breaking them their days. Fight isn't over. Both of them, if we are going to make it out alive. Fire a pair of shots. Hoping to hit anything vital, but at this point, just want to actually hit her, put damage. Okay, we are definitely getting the two of them back on track, so that's good. So that's the fact that it did a roll there and not just like a roll for the attack is kind of crazy to me. Your shout rings out, cutting through the suffocating grief in the chamber. He's gone, but we aren't. Move or we die with him. Reuven blinks, his expression shifting from paralyzed shock to cold, desperate clarity. As he surges forward, his blade drawn, Vexy, her breath hitching, wipes her eyes and begins weaving the final, most potent incantation she has left. Her focus pulsing with violent, unstable energy. Your bullets tear through the Queen's thorax, the impact forcing the monster backward. Black ichor sprays in fountains, and she lets out a hollow, shuddering screech as she stumbles, her monstrous limbs buckling under the trauma. She is fading, her movements slow and agonizingly disjointed. Reuven and Vexy are closing in, their combined fury channeling into one final decisive blow. The end of the nightmare is within reach, and you prepare your own final response to ensure she never rises again. Seeing the end in sight. Carefully and put 2 bullets down range into her head as the other 2 strike. And 2. Okay. To be fair, if I hadn't gotten that lucky shot on her own venom sacs, probably wouldn't have been as easy of a fight. We did a ton of damage. Instead of your breathing blocking out the adrenaline spiking in your veins, you line up the sights, the red laser dots. I never said that I have red laser dots, but okay. Dancing briefly over the queen's pulsating chitinous head, you squeeze the trigger twice, the sharp crack of the 9mm rounds echoing in the cavernous room. The bullets strike true, shattering the remaining armor plating and sinking deep into the creature's exposed brain. Spider Queen lets out a final discordant screech that dies halfway through. Her massive barbed legs twitch once, twice, before finally going limp. Her colossal weight collapses into the pool of black ichor and debris, kicking up a final cloud of dust. Silence that fills the chamber is sudden, heavy, and absolute, broken only by the ragged, terrified breathing of Reuven and Vexy. The beast is dead. You lower your weapon, your hands finally beginning to shake as the reality of the encounter sets in. The path forward is finally clear, but the cost of this victory hangs heavy in the air, a grim reminder of the brutal reality of the rift. We can leave later. We have little under an hour strip boss and anything left of the spiders she ate. Say as I get to work moving core from boss. Let's see here. Let's make a pile over there that can stick in the bag once outside. We can distribute everything properly. A bit detached, but the others realize that I'm right. Out 5 minutes. Finish boss and about half what you would normally get from the 40 or so spider corpses in the room. Our way back outside as the gate closes. Let's see here. Sadly, nothing of Krellin was C-R-E-L-E-N coverable. Bring back as for his family. All right. So we're going to say about half the stuff we would normally get from about 40 normal spiders. And then the stuff from the boss. All right. I'm going to take all there. All right. The air outside the gate is cold, jarringly clean compared to the thick, musty atmosphere of the subway tunnel. You step out onto the concrete just as the shimmer of the portal collapses into nothingness, sealing the C-rank danger away forever. Association cleanup crews immediately swarm the site, their professional movements contrastingly sharp with the raw, unspoken trauma you and your remaining companions carry. Vexy sinks onto a nearby bench, staring blankly at her blood-stained hands, while Reuben stands stiffly, his eyes fixed on the empty spot where the rift just was. There was no joy in this victory. The weight of Krellin's loss is a physical pressure in your chest, but you force it down, retreating on into the cold, methodical headspace that keeps you alive. You hand over the gathered materials, the precious core, the soap, the chitin, to the processing team with a practiced hollow efficiency. Your work here is done, but the cost was high. As you walk away from the site, the city lights of Haven Reach look different, sharper, perhaps a little more fragile, reminding you that for every breach closed, the shadow you discovered earlier grows slightly larger. Okay, why is it doing this? I want to... Before leaving, I walk over to Reuben and Vexy. Look, I'm going to pretend like I know you very well. Just want to get the loot distribution out of the way. Don't take it personally. Same. As we look over the loot, it totals up in let's see here, let's go with the giant spider produced silk bundles from Queen, roughly $20 let's go with 18. D rank cores. So you're roughly 40 spiders, so 24 chitin. Oh. Plates. 12 barbs and the C rank core from Queen. Realize that while exploding the venom sacs, it was probably the only reason we won the fight. The loss of the most valuable oil besides Queen core hurts. Divide up the materials evenly, then stare at the C rank core. Two of them hanging in the air as to who take the boss core. Okay. Let's see. So pretty good haul altogether, right? Let's see. What can we get? Maybe we can manage to take the core as well. Maybe I can, push them like, hey, look, I'm not going to argue about the 40 spiders, like what we got from like the giant spiders, because we didn't even kill most of them. And I agreed not to really argue about the giant spider, but I did do the majority of the damage to the queen, so I should take the queen core. I agree, no need for pleasantries when we just need the accounts settled. So let's count it up and be done with this. I have a lot of debt to clear. Corner of the steel table, her knuckles white as she grips the tuning rod. She avoids looking directly at the gore-stained spoils. Keeping her gaze fixed on the floor or the far wall while her fingers nervously drum against her thigh. Why did he suddenly become stone? He had... Okay, fine, just keep it simple. Split it 3 ways, even, and be done with it. As C rank core goes. I don't plan to argue over the rest. Most of them were didn't kill them, but as the person who most damage boss and think take the C rank core. Any objections? Let's see what they say. Oh, and we can upgrade. We can go to level 3. It's kind of cool. I do probably want to take a second and see kind of where, yeah, core for the damage share. I suppose that is mathematically equatable. Just ensure the remaining scavenged materials are divided exactly as promised. I cannot afford to lose my share over a disagreement on valuation. It's not audible in the quiet staging area. She pulls her tuning rod closer to her chest, her knuckles turning bone white against the wood. She keeps her eyes locked on the pile of salvage rather than meeting your gaze. Her nervous habit of humming a low, discordant tune beginning to bubble up before she bites her lip to stifle. Take it. The coin is what matters. Let's finish this. Bexy exhales. Okay. I pocket the C rank core. Grab the remainder of my share. Bid the two farewell and hope never see them again. Okay, so in order to, we're going to go to equipment. I don't want to get rid of okay, we're going to add in accordance with the narrative. Please add to inventory the C rank core. We said 18 B rank, or D rank, so that's 6 D rank cores. I already have the silk, right? Yeah, I already have the silk bundle, honestly. So then it's 8 chitin plates. And 1 bundle of silk. Thank you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and remove, just so the DM doesn't think that I have them. We also need to have the DM remove one of our pistol magazines. We need a better gun. Might get a better gun with this. Might look into getting a better gun with this haul, or a better set of guns maybe. Spider Queen's core, D rank core, chitin plate, spider silk bundle. Okay, we're gonna take all. Sorry about the sniffling, by the way, if that's bothering anybody. Coming off of being sick for the last couple of days, so it's been fun. All right, let's make sure that we have everything. We do have the Spider Queen cores, 6 D rank cores, 8 chitin plates, and the Spider Silk bundle. Cool. Okay. You watch Riven and Bexley walk away, their silhouettes merging into the shadows of the loading dock, their shoulders slumped under the weight of the experience. You don't offer a final word. There is nothing left to say that will bridge the gap between you now. You turn away, the C-Rank core heavy and cool in your pocket, a grim reminder of the price paid for your survival. You make your way toward the association intake office, your steps echoing hollowly in the quiet industrial zone. The cold night air does little to numb the ache of your ribs, and the adrenaline is finally fading, leaving behind a profound, bone-deep exhaustion. You have the evidence of the dungeon, the spoils of war, and the heavy, silent burden of a teammate lost to the abyss. You stop before the Association's heavy blast doors, ready to report, fully aware that the victory only brings you one step closer to the larger, darker mystery you stumbled upon. No, I'm not reporting to... Considering I don't actually work for the Association, no debrief is necessary. This was a independent party, not an association-led raid. Wanting to get the best for my haul, make my way to a rather well-known trade trade group that tends to deal in higher grade equipment and spoils. Normally visit merchant close to my apartment, but above E rank lacks capital to offer fair prices. Entering through the door, I'm greeted by a woman in a suit. Clearly used to dealing with high value clients. Quickly takes my information and gives me a general rundown of the floors and which I have access to. I'm unable to go second floor, since I don't have a membership and I don't plan on paying one right now. 100,000 a month. Rather expensive for someone struggling to pay rent. Way to the second floor where they deal in D and C rank items. Okay. The trade house stark contrast to the grime of the subway. High ceilings, polished marble floors, and low professional hum of business negotiations replace the echoing screams of the dungeon. If you own a place in your bloodstained gear, but in the building, blood just signifies that you've been working. The woman in the suit was efficient, her polite dismissal of your lack of high-tier membership lingering as you step into the brass-fitted elevator to the second floor. The second floor is a bustling bazaar for serious freelance hunters. Merchants operate out of small glass-walled booths, their displays glittering with refined cores, reinforced armor, and weapon mods that cost more than your monthly rent. You navigate the crowd, catching snippets of shop talk regarding rift clearing times and market trends. You find a booth that specializes in C-rank spoils, the counter lined with polished high-value components. You approach the merchant, ready to see if your hauls are worth the blood you spilled to secure it. He looks up and eyes the gear. I'm bearing with a critical eye, quickly sizing up the value, determining direction, conversation. Pretty normal behavior. That's hunters became a mainstream job. I know. Try to lowball pricing, assuming my low-grade gear means don't know the real value of the items I have. I have a C rank Spider Queen core to sell, bundle of silk few chitin plates, from D rank spiders to sell. Jeez, I forgot the H. Okay, let's see what direction this goes. Negotiation and maybe a upgrade to my gear if the money is good. All right, let's see what we can get. Not very hopeful. This is probably going to be a long, drawn-out conversation of being like, hey, motherfucker, pay me the right amount of money for the shit that I'm trying to give you, or I'm going to take the shit somewhere else. Spider Queen core, That certainly changes the tone of the conversation. God, Jesus. Alright, the merchant, a stout man with a monocle that magnifies his calculating eye, pauses as you place the items on the velvet-lined counter. His gaze lingers on the pulsating C-rank core, and his initial indifference is instantly replaced by a sharp predatory interest. He doesn't bother looking at your worn, blood-stained gear now. He only cares about the potential profit margin sitting before him. He picks up the core with gloved hand, examining under the booth's harsh light, clears his throat, setting the item down with deliberate slowness, clearly trying to establish a psychological advantage before the real talk begins. He says, his voice raspy but deceptively smooth. Let's discuss what this is worth to you and what it's worth to a serious establishment like this. At a core rank or above is well sought after for its poison properties. It being from a boss like a Spider Queen increases value. I know Association has them listed at a value of 3,000 coins. Plates being D rank go for around 150 each. Silk makes durable robes for around coins. D rank spider cores are rather common. So no worth around 50 each, meaning this is valued at, let's see here, do some quick math, right? I want to kind of keep in mind that like B ranks, serious C ranks, stuff like that, they could probably afford the stuff. So like 8,000 plus 1,000 plus, let's see here, it's 60 rank cores, right? 6 times 150 plus 8 times 50. Wait, make sure I had that right in my head. No, the cores, so that's actually 6 of those and 8 of those. So we're looking at about 5,500. 500 coins or offer. Say, clearly throwing him off a little with the calculation don't look so surprised. Did a little research before coming up here. Say with a smile. Oh. All right, let's see what he's got to say. Yeah, he's going to try to worm his way out of a full price payment. She kind of figured. Meticulous tally, truly. It is refreshing to see an adventurer has bothered to consult the basic valuation index. However, between us professionals, those figures are merely theoretical. Absolute ceilings for pristine lab-certified materials, not the dusty, microfractured specimens one drags out of a hole in the ground. Look at the core, friend. There is a distinct discoloration near the nexus, a sure sign of structural instability. It would be a catastrophic investment to pay full market price for something that might lose its potency upon extraction. Pulls a small silk handkerchief from his pocket and begins to rhythmically polish his monocle. He tilts his head, his gaze sweeping over the pile of materials with a dismissive, almost pitying look before fixing his dark, almond-shaped eyes back on you with a sharp, polished smile. True, but so no. A major guild has a bid out for the C rank core for nearly double the market value, regardless of condition, with higher pricing payout for a quality piece. I'm willing to settle for half value of the plates and core and D rank cores, but the silk and the C rank core are up for debate. Willing to offer silk for 800 coins and given the request out for a queen core, I'll take 1,000 for it. You still make a solid profit. Bared so all right. Leverage inside knowledge of a guild bid to negotiate a higher price. That's a what? Jesus. Let's see. All right, let's see what we got here. A major guild bid. How quaint. One hears so many rumors in these halls, most of them whispered by dreamers hoping to inflate their worth. If you truly had a standing order from a guild, you would not be leaning on my counter, pleading for a premium. You would be counting coin elsewhere. Let us dispense with fairy tales, shall we? I am offering you a guaranteed sale, immediate liquidity, and the privilege of not having to haul this questionable merchandise back into the dark. My offer stands, but perhaps I can be persuaded to add a small service fee if you're willing to let go of the pretense. It's fact. It was publicly announced a week ago that Guild Shaw to buy a spider core of C rank or above for double the list price. Normally, gone straight to them, but also know that losing a little coin means nothing, and I can gain a favorable relationship with an establishment like this, then I may need better gear later. Offer dance. Take it. Walk. Shaw won't care. Buy it from. Let's see what happens. Oh, nat 20. Yes. Especially with a 0 charisma. Like that's huge in these moments. A week ago, you play a dangerous game holding on to such goods while the market fluctuates, but fine. Let us say I acknowledge your point regarding Guild Shaw. I cannot match double the market price, but that would be sheer madness. But I can offer you a premium on the core alone, provided you include D-rank materials at a discount. We can form a mutually beneficial agreement if you're serious about long-term gear, as you claim. Beck freezes, his hand still resting on the frame of Zabacus. The calculated smile drops for a fraction of a second, replaced by a sharp look, intense assessment. He slowly pulls his hands back from the counter and smooths the front of his silk doublet, his eyes tracing your posture for a hint of a bluff. We're getting somewhere. So, D-rank cores at half value, totaling in 25 silver, 5 coins per core. The plates at half value, totaling in 75 coins per piece. Silk at a 20% discount for 800 coins, And the core at 4,500 coins. You leased 1,500 on the core alone. Sounds fair to me. Agree. All right. So given that five, you drive a hard bargain, my friend, and I admire that tenacity in an associate. Very well, let's finalize the trade at those figures. I appreciate a man who understands the value of lasting professional relationship over a single payday. Let's get this sorted before someone else decides to make an offer. Let's add a short, sharp breath that almost resembles a laugh. He leans back, his posture relaxing in a display of professional grace. As he taps the side of his abacus with a rhythmic, satisfied beat, he gestures towards the glass counter, his dark eyes fixed on you with a look of predatory respect. The exchange did not go through. Second participant does not have enough coins. What? Guard it, the manager. Brief conversation. Manager retreats to the remaining capital needed. Turning with coins, hands, merchant to complete the transaction. Oh, come on. Brief administrative delay, nothing more. My apologies for the inconveniences. I'm sure you understand the complexities of moving such substantial sums. Short notice, let us proceed with the exchange. I have the necessary funds now. Manager with a sharp, stiff nod. His movement's notably faster than usual. He forces a bright, tight smile onto his face. He turns back to you, though his fingers tremble almost imperceptibly as he reaches for the pile of loot. He then slides a heavy, well-filled coin pouch across the counter towards you, the metal clinking with the agreed-upon sum of 6,050 silver. Or business work future, maybe next time we skip song and dance, let's see. Hold on. All right. Song and dance. Let's see here. All right. Let's see if it did it. It did not. Please view the transaction and remove the cores. Tighten plates and silk from my inventory and add 6,500 coins in accordance with the narrative. Thank you. Coins, smiling at the merchant. The rent is 50 coins a month. So I now have 1,000 coins on upgrades. Granted, need to keep some for food and other expenses. All right. Should correct it now. If not, I'm going to be angry. Okay, removed. Yep, and added. Awesome. So it corrected it. Tuck the heavy pouch of silver into your holster. I don't know why it said holster, but okay. Feck Val gives you a nod. His shark-like grin slightly diminished, replaced by the look of grudging respect as he returns to polishing his monocle with a silk handkerchief. You walk toward the elevator, the clinking of the coins, rhythmic reminder that for the first time in a while, you aren't just surviving, you might actually be getting ahead. With 6,000 silver burning a hole in your pocket, the bazaar's possibilities suddenly feel very real. You could look into upgrading your handguns, perhaps finding some specialized ammunition, or a grip that fits better in your palm, or maybe invest in better armor to protect your ribs, which still ache from the Spider Queen impact. Before you do anything, though, you need to find a place to rest and recover. The adrenaline has left you drained, and the city lights outside the trading house look far less menacing than they did just an hour ago. I'll look into upgrading my gear later. Make my way back to the apartment. It's 1p, not 2. Jesus. And pay the landlord the 50 coins I owe him for the rent for the month. Oh, God, I feel sick. All right, moving on. The month. Once I get back to my room, I eat a small meal and make my way to the bed, looking at screen, which I forgot about after dungeon. See that got a few levels from Spider Queen and dungeon. Worry about stat points later. So see that I got new skill. Sit up. Gaining skills is rare side of tomes. Which tend to in high regions only. Skill Azure up. Reading bullet. User can create bullet made of mana, deals damage proportional of mana consumed. Mana damage increases by 5 for every 10 additional consumed. For 1, 2 damage. Copy, paste. All right, let's see what it does. Otherwise, like, I have to do it this way. Otherwise, it will force me to, like, I won't be able to use it. Like, I won't be able to use it in combat if I don't do it this way. Because the combat system is really weird. It doesn't do well with things like, oh god, I can't remember, what does Champion and Renegade do? Let me check something real quick. I don't remember what Champion and Renegade actually does. Should be under tips and tricks, right? Yeah, the guide. Take a look, see if it tells me, because I can't remember. Proved critical. You perform critical strikes on natural 19s as well as 20s when attacking. Remarkable athlete. You can add half your proficiency bonus rounded up to any strength, dexterity, or constitution check you make that doesn't already use your proficiency bonus. In addition, you jump further versus Renegade, which has Ruthless Trick. As a bonus action, you can make a targeted enemy have a disadvantage on their next attack. Grim Opportunist. When you down an enemy to 0 HP, you can momentarily use their body as a shield, consuming any amount of damage from one next attack. As a gunslinger, I think Renegade's probably the better one. Yeah. I think that's honestly the better one. All right, you lock the door to your apartment, the heavy sliding bolt sliding home with a final reassuring click. The silence of the room is almost disorienting after the chaos of the subway, but it's a welcome relief. You toss your gear aside, the weight of the day settling in your aching muscles, you collapse onto the bed. The mana bullet skill you unlock still dances in your mind's eye, an unexpected potential advantage in a world that rarely gives anything away for free. The implications of it swirl in your thoughts, but exhaustion is a more immediate master. You close your eyes, letting the stillness of the room wash over you. Your body demands recovery as you sleep, as sleep claims you. The system begins to process the physical and mental toll of the day. You drift off knowing that when you wake, you'll be stronger, sharper, and ready to face whatever the next gate has in store. Once I wake up, for the day, realize still have stat points to allocate. Pull up my stat sheet, seeing the familiar stats I had at time of my awakening. Strength 10, speed, or no, agility 10, constitution, no, dexterity 10, constitution 10, mana 10, and intelligence 10. Apparently my intelligence is not a 10 because I can't spell. All right. Bottom, flashing number of available data points reads 27. Gain 3 for each level it seems. Ugh. strength doesn't really seem all that important to me right now. Main ones about for my class is agility, dexterity, you on a bullet ability on a really important for a potential move pinch. Split thinly between mana, dexterity, and agility, bringing the new totals to strength 10, agility 19, dexterity 19, constitution 10, mana 19, and two L's 10. Honestly, I don't know if that's like the best way to go about this. Seems like a solid way. I mean, I know this isn't going to affect my rolls at all, and that's fine. I'm not trying to. This is going to affect the narrative, though, for very specific things. And that's really what I'm going for. And hopefully the mana situation, like I'll have to track it myself. Because that's going to matter. Okay, the sunlight filtering through your thin curtains finds you already awake. Sitting on the edge of the bed, the phantom aches of the Spider Queen's impact have vanished. Replaced by subtle vibration or vibrating tension in your muscles, you call up the system interface, the familiar azure light bathing the room. With a quick, decisive flick of your mind, you commit the 27 available points, 9 into agility, 9 into dexterity, and 9 into your mana. As the changes lock in, the transformation is immediate and visceral. Your perception seems to sharpen, your movements feel fluid and impossibly light. You flex your fingers, finding them steady and incredibly precise, almost as if the air around your hand offers less resistance. More importantly, you can feel the mana humming beneath your skin. A deep, dormant well that you now understand how to tap into. With the mana bullet skill and these enhanced attributes, you aren't just a basic freelance hunter anymore. You meet your gaze in the mirror, knowing you're finally prepared for the next breach. Okay, if we don't write those down, we are going to forget. We're going to make this white colored nuts fine. Stats. Strength 10, dexterity 19, mana 19, constitution 10, agility 10, intelligence 10, and save. We're just going to have to use that for now. All right. I make my way down out of the apartment, single P, building, and back towards trading center from yesterday, hoping to get some better gear after entering and being greeted by the woman at the front desk. Make my way to the second floor and look for a merchant selling guns. Find a rather large man toward back. Looks like he's been smithing for years before the collapse. Table are a myriad guns from rifles to assault rifles, some carrying distinct engravings mark them as infused. A trade came with the arrival of cores was engraving weapons to give them elemental properties by infusing them with monster cores. And to find you. All right, let's see what we get. Oh, I wonder what we'll get here. This ought to be interesting. All right, you looking for something off the shelf, or are you actually going to tell me what you need that gun to do? Monodust, trigger spring assembly, gun oil, adjustable brass sight, heat-resistant gloves, box of standard lead slugs, reinforced firing pin. Okay, we're not going to be able to do it that way. I'm looking for an upgrade to basic pistols carry currently. Prefer pistols, but think adding a rifle to the arsenal might be useful. Thus maneuverable. But boss room added power could save life. For rifles. I do like the character portrait on this one. I think it's pretty good. Kind of a standard basic one, but not bad. The names are crazy to me. Like, I was hoping for a more like generic naming structure, but it's not bad. It marks the mana bullet as a sellable item is crazy to me. Listen, if you're looking for raw noise, buy a cannon. But if you want a rifle that actually hits the mark without shearing your wrist off, you need to look at the conduits. I keep a few pieces on hand, assuming you have the coin and the respect to maintain them. One's held in his left hand. He sets the rifle he was holding down on the workbench with a heavy clatter and then gestures a curt nod toward the supply racks lining the walls. Absolutely. Do you have any chambered in 5.56? With elemental freeze, or are more probably going to be ending the stream here soon. Coming up on 11:55 here. I'll probably go till about 12:30, depending on how this conversation goes. Probably cut it shortly. Jeez, this guy's an asshole. Not wasting mine. raised. Move. Fire. Nine, 4. Nursing. Preferably 1. So. Let's see. Fire piercing, you're asking for a grenade with a trigger, not a firearm. I build weapons to last, not to melt your hands off in a firefight. If you want a weapon that actually functions, check the stock and tell me if you're capable of picking something kill you. Let's see here. Let's see. I don't know why it's making this so damn difficult. For mantles, not hunting. If you want flash, go to the city square. You want a rifle that won't jam when you need it? Keep your eyes on the mechanism, not the scroll work. If you want to see it, keep your hands off the trigger until I've cleared the chamber. Sets the polishing cloth down with a sharp exhale. His movement's tight and controlled. He reaches for the rifle. On the rack, his large callous hands wiping firmly around the stock, or wrapping firmly around the stock as he unhooks it from the wall, turns back to you, keeping the muzzle pointed safely toward the floor while he checks the action one final time before sliding across the counter towards you. Let's see here. Let's see. Action isn't bought for pennies, and my time spent tuning and firing the firing mechanism is worth every bit of coin. If you're serious about taking that piece off my hands, let's look at the trade, and we can settle the cost. Across his arm, watching closely as you set the rifle down, a single sharp nod acknowledgement. Regarding the assessment of the build, his expression remaining neutral, slightly less guarded. See, the problem is it's not listed in your trade. Ugh. So this is what I hate. Like, trading system's really weird because it'll act like they have things that they don't, but it also won't list them here either. May end up getting I haven't pulled numbers out of thin air. The price is firm, listed in the ledger. You value the quality or you don't. Decide if you're buying or just window shopping because I have firing pin to calibrate. My fucking God. This is the thing that I hate personally. It's like how much you Okay, we're gonna take that. I want that. I don't really need the sights. Deal there. See price rifle listed at coins. A very fair price for rifle. With things besides one rifle doesn't include bullets. $500. Price. Here you go. By hand coin. Retrieves the extra magazines. Okay, I got the gun oil. It's 8. Let's see. We're gonna do, what is it? 20 rounds per mag, so 3 mags. So 20 times 3 divided by 8. We need to buy this 8 times. Oh, no, it's not 8. He only has 8 of them. So we're going to buy 3 of them. Hands. Rifle. All right, this is the old, like, their trading system also isn't bad. It just needs work. Like, in my opinion, it just needs work, right? It's not terrible. It's just not great yet. It's not all inclusive. Still needs some work. Like, if this could update in real time, like as you're having a conversation, it's like it's not on their list. But you talk about it, and like in the next message, it's now on their list. Like, hey, this is an item we've just added. That would be really cool. That way I don't have to waste a message outside. So last, assuming you keep your hands off the trigger when the barrel is hot. I don't manufacture magazines, so you'll have to source those elsewhere. Here's your oil and slugs. Don't waste them. That's annoying, but okay. Let's see if we exit, come back in. I don't have to waste a message doing the whole DM please end. Okay, cool. Nope, it doesn't. Damn it. I was hoping. Okay, DM, please end dialogue. Items, bid the gunsmith day my way through market. Look around for someone could grave rifle to reinforce barrel. See what it does. So this is the hard part about all this is like you have to. It's such a weird system. Okay, now let's see if it added it. It probably didn't. Yep, no, it removed. Okay, so it did not add. Okay, DM, please review the transaction and add to create an ranged weapon named weapon name standard rifle. Description. Full decent craftsmanship. 20 magazine between single fire and auto fire. Damage 20 times where's that symbol? Times 1d8. Hold on, I gotta look up how you're supposed to write this out again, because I do not remember. Let's see. Da 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 da. No, that's not going to help. It's probably in this. Fail on over full prompts. Base guide. Guide to custom weapons. Oh, it's just 20. D8. That's really it. Piercing damage. Q. Oh, wait, can't put that there. Thank you. Let's see if this works. Should work. Sometimes custom items are a little finicky. You can sometimes get the DM to do it just fine. Other times it's kind of a pain in the ass to get it to do it. So you always kind of have to point out, like, hey, this thing just happened. I would like this weapon to be added to my inventory. There we go. Take all. And then we'll have to double check and make sure that it's actually set up the way that we need it to. Well, let's see. You step out of the gunsmith shop into the bustling market. The new rifle securely strapped to every shoulder. The atmosphere here is stark contrast to the shop. Chaotic and vibrant, with merchants shouting their wares and groups of hunters debating their next delve. You maneuver through the throng, your eyes scanning the various stalls and shop fronts. You looking for someone who specializes in delicate arcane work and mana infusion rather than just crude metal repairs. The search takes time, weaving through the loud, aggressive vendors until you notice a quieter, more refined shop tucked away behind a larger spice stall. A sign hangs above the door marked with the subtle, intricate sigil of a master artisan and the rhythmic, precise tink, tink, tink of a small hammer, suggesting they work with more than just precious stones. It looks like the right place to find someone who can handle delicate reinforcement for your rifle needs. Okay, let's make sure that our item is in there correctly. Standard rifle. Let's view. It did 2d8 instead of 20d8. We're going to matte black assault rifle with 20 round magazine and a fire selector switch for single or automatic fire. Why did you do what? Needed to do DM, please. Just the standard rifle item in my inventory to reflect the damage as 20d8 instead of 2d8, since it holds 20 bullets, each dealing 1d8 of damage. Susan for the adjustment. Thank you. Let's see if we can get it to correct it. If not, we'll just kind of leave it there. I'm not going to waste a bunch of messages on this. It's not that important. We could probably get away with the 2d8 and it'd be fine. I could probably adjust that. You approach the quiet, refined shop. The rifle still feels foreign against your back. Before you step inside, you pause, reconsidering the weapon's potential. While you understand the logic that a full magazine could theoretically unleash immense force, weapon mechanics in this reality are balanced for precision, not sheer volume. A single concentrated shot of 1d12 piercing damage from this caliber is already lethal enough to punch through most D-rank monster hides. Trying to force more power per trigger pull without specialized enhancements enchantments would likely result in barrel shattering, not increasing your damage output with the realization... Okay, it's going to say go fuck yourself, essentially. Good to know. So we get to leave it as is. So equip. Right? Really fucking annoying, but whatever. Okay. You are here to refine the rifle's potential for your mana bullet skill, not to turn it into an unstable bomb. Okay. Shop owner. Rifle engraved to make the to reinforce the barrel. I have a skill that can create a powerful round, and I'm worried that a standard rifle won't to hold when using skill. All right, let's see what he does. Let's see what we got. See what we can get here. Something, anything. Yeah, I'm probably going to call it here in a few minutes, probably after this conversation. I got a lot of other stuff I got to get done today, including eat. Pretty hungry. I got to jump into Raid Shadow Legends to kind of work on the Cowardly Lion fusion event that's going on. Got to do laundry still. Still got to do that. Yeah, still got a lot I got to do today. So we'll vacuum and sweep the house. Come on. I don't know when I'm going to be doing it, but heck, I may wait until the character's finished. I don't know for sure what I'm going to do yet. But eventually I'm thinking about getting around to breaking these up into like 20-minute segments where there's the pauses aren't there, like that transition time is removed. So it's going to depend. All right, reinforcement. That is a heavy claim for a standard issue piece. Let us assess the structural integrity of your barrel first. If the ore composition is too porous, no amount of arcane engraving will save the thing from buckling under the pressure you're describing. Place it on the mat. Okay, refined brass spring, arcane flux capacitor, etching acid vials, precision whetstone, high density lead pellets, telescopic sight lens. That might be useful. Heat resistant lubricant, standardized firing pin. I do kind of want to get the scope. Maybe later. the standard rifle on the mat. Wait for the graver's verdict. Oh, let's see what we got here. Oh, Lord. I don't know why I'm tired. I've had a whole thing of coffee. God, this standard pattern, reliable enough for a grunt, I suppose, but we're talking about high mana infusion. Let's see what we were working with. He's under the workbench, the chromatic loop held tight against his eye socket. He runs a gloved finger along the barrel, then brings his face inches from the metal, his breathing slowing as he examines the grain of the steel for microscopic stress fractures. I think possible. Ask after he sets it on the mat. Let's see. See what he says. Come on. It is surprisingly dense. The forging process was consistent. It's a rarity these days. Most smiths treat steel like mud, but this has structure. I can work with this, but it will require custom containment runic set. It's not going to be cheap, nor will it be quick. Exactly. Let's see what he says. Cedric Vaughn. Oh, let's see. Coal is not something I conjure overnight, especially when the integrity of the barrel is at stake. For a custom containment runic set and calibration work to handle the kind of mana flux, I would need at least 3 days. As for the cost, expect to part with 200 coins. I do not do sloppy work, and I do not work for scrap. All right, 200's not bad. Acceptable. Life. It. Done by tomorrow. See if we can speed it up a little. See what he says. That's going to be a fail. Yep, because my charisma is 0, which is fine. Hopefully he doesn't take it as a disrespectful thing. Money does not accelerate the cooling rate of the metal, nor does it make the mana flow alignment less volatile. If you want the rifle to hold together, you'll give me the time I require. If you want tomorrow, you're better off taking it to someone who doesn't care if you end up with a barrel full of shrapnel. That's meant if time partially to queue me back in 3 days. For the 200 coins and the simple rifle. All right. Pays 200 coins as a deposit for the rifle modification. Wise concession. I shall document the serial number and begin the periphery heat soak immediately. Return at midday on the 3rd day. Do not be late, as the mana connectivity window is precise. I do not store finished pieces indefinitely. Back of his workbench will practice efficiency, then immediately picks up his calipers to begin a final measurement of the barrel diameter before the etching begins. My way out of the shop. All right, and then when this dialogue ends, I'll probably call it there for today. Next Friday, we will pick back up with this story, probably around the same time. So where I'm at, that is usually around 8:30 is whenever I start, and I go till about 12:30 in most cases. Sometimes a little bit later, just kind of depends on the day. I was respectfully saying, yep. What did it do? Oh, I accidentally hit chat mode. So we'll call it there. Like I said, I normally start around 8:30 and go till about 12:30 to 1. It just kind of depends on the day. That is my time here, I believe, is Eastern Standard Time. Might be Eastern Central Time. I don't remember. It's whatever the time is in like the Panhandle of Florida. Okay. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all all in the next